Hey, I'm Logan.
And I'm Alyssa Black.
Wow, did you go off and marry someone else?
No, I think someone gave birth to me. His name is Jack.
Oh,
Jack Black. Like how they say it in the Muppets.
I didn't know they say that like that
That's
in the
how
Muppets.
they say it. Remember when they kidnapped him in the Muppets?
I do remember when they kidnapped Jack Black in the Muppets. It's amazing. It's one of the best parts of any movie ever. Wow. So we didn't do an episode last week. I feel like we haven't done this in forever because a lot has been going on. But I'm glad to be back talking about movies and marketing. We got a lot of fans out there begging for a return. You kind of don't know what to do without us.
Yeah, I do have to tell my mom every time we don't record because now she goes, "No new episode this week."
Yeah, I know.
You don't
They're
have to tell her
rabid.
it's there or just kidding. We're not doing it this week.
Well, let's jump right into it because I do want to finish this episode before the Wizards Celtics play-in game comes on tonight. And yes, I said it on the podcast. You're like, why are you talking about basketball on the podcast? Because I like it. You ready to talk about Scott Pilgrim versus the World?
Yes, because I like it.
So, I guess I should say real quick what we're doing. We are doing Scott Pilgrim versus the World and School of Rock. It's, listen, you ready for what I've coined this episode?
Yes.
Battle of the Bands.
Okay.
A good one, right?
Not bad.
That's from you. That means good, and I know. So we're gonna start off with Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It's not a new release technically, but it kind of technically is because it just got a re-release on April 30th, which is pretty exciting. But anyways, this movie was directed by Edgar Wright. Here's a quick synopsis from IMDb. In a magically realistic version of Toronto, a young man must defeat his new girlfriend's 7 evil exes one by one in order to win her heart.
That makes me think that Toronto is boring and cold.
Yeah, I mean, I think even in this magically realistic version, like, it was portrayed as boring and cold.
Yeah, well, it says it's magically realistic, so I'm guessing that's how it is in real life.
As you can tell, we've never been to Toronto. It's based off of our love for our favorite band, Pup. And this movie now. That's all we know of Toronto.
Yep. And it's in Canada.
Okay, we know that too. So originally this movie opened on August 13th, 2010. A whopping 11 years ago, almost. I consider this one a classic. One of the Turner classic movies, almost, you know? Okay. And it also just got a re-release, like I just said, on April 30th. So we did actually see this in theaters. It was our first movie back in theaters since, the pandemic begun, which was very exciting. I think it was a good one to see. It was my first time seeing it, too.
Oh, that's true. That's
so
very true.
Kind of cool to get to experience an 11-year-old movie for the first time on the big screen.
That's true. You did. I've seen it at least 1.5 times, and I also read the graphic novels.
Proud of you.
You don't need to say that. I'm just referencing my knowledge.
Okay, no, I get it.
Subject matter.
Yes. So this movie was made on a budget of $60 million, which, that's wild. That's a high budget for this movie, I think. Opening weekend, it made $10 million. Its total domestic was $33 million. International, its total is only $16 million. That's a worldwide total of $49 million. So that comes in $11 million under the budget. That's a little rough.
Yeah.
And I mean, this movie did bomb. Now, it is very popular now.
Yeah, it's more of a cult classic.
Yeah, popular to the point where it could get a theatrical re-release, which is, and again, an official one, not like a theater showing, old films. Like some theaters do something called flashback cinema. Mm-hmm. It's not like that. It's an official, re-release. Now, to be fair, the lack of movies coming out because of the pandemic probably opened up space for that. Mm-hmm. But it still got it. One thing we are going to talk about a lot is maybe why it underperformed. Because it really did. Just some funny reasons that it might have. But surprisingly, this movie was loved by critics, 82%, and loved by audiences, 84% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah. So why did it bomb? Again, we're going to get into it really soon. There's no cinema score for it. Yeah, I mean, do you have anything you want to say about the movie before I go into some, marketing activities they did for this film?
I, 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 I,
No?
This is a long pause. I had something, and then I looked at the screen, and then I lost it. And I'm just sitting here. I'm like, Logan's have to cut this out. He's going to be mad at me.
No, I won't cut it out. You're thinking. You're pondering. It shows that you're putting thought into your work. We don't just blurt out random bullshit. We save that for the marketing ideas section, and we're not there yet.
I mean, I think this is a very unique film, and it was very unique for the time. And I don't know why it bombed so bad, but I think people don't realize how cool that was.
Yeah, no, I agree too. It's very visually interesting. Now, some would say like ahead of its time, but I still think today this movie would bomb if it was done the same way today.
I can see that.
Yeah, but I agree. Like I loved it visually. It's great. The story itself doesn't age the best in some ways.
Yeah, and looking back now, the cast is stacked. You wouldn't think that when you watched it.
The casting was done by Allison Jones, who has casted Freaks and Geeks, The Office, Parks and Recreation. Like anything that has a stellar cast that you love was probably casted by Allison Jones. So yeah.
And that was before the stack was considered this cast was considered stacked. But when
I mean,
you
like
watch
she
it, you're
made,
like, damn.
or Freaks and Geeks made like all of its cast.
That's very true.
So yeah, now let's move into some marketing ideas. So one, I want to talk about the website. This movie was made in an interesting era, so 2010. And there was a point, and if you watch a lot of trailers from movies from like the mid-2000s, I would say early to mid-2000s, you see movies advertising a website. Normal, right?
Yeah.
But you also know that like web design was sort of still in its like infancy. Maybe it's adolescence by that point. But like what you could do on a website and what you thought people would do on a website, people were still trying to work that out. So you got a lot of like wacky or boring things. But then I think as you get closer to 2010, you're kind of on the precipice of like websites of you putting being able to do a lot with a website because of the way like technology has evolved and improved. But you're moving into the social media era where like your digital presence of a movie, like it doesn't matter what's on the website. Nobody cares about a website. It's about like what your Instagram for the movie is posting or what your Facebook account, which like, 2010, that time, Facebook was big for movies, like promoting themselves.
Yeah, I would agree that Facebook was probably the biggest platform as like Twitter was kind of emerging, Instagram was kind of emerging, and people started actually using those. But at this point, Facebook was established. People were using Facebook. I remember liking movie pages on Facebook.
It's actually funny because I saw a post from the Hunger Games page on Facebook today, which, let's talk about this for a little bit. Organic reach on Facebook is dead. And what that essentially means is like you have a Facebook page and you post on it and you don't put any money behind it. Even your followers are going to have a hard time seeing it. It's not going to be put on their profile. It's very hard to do that. So it's very funny because I liked probably thousands of dumb shit pages.
Yeah, I did too, which is one of the reasons why I had to delete my last Facebook because I couldn't stand looking at all 2,000 pages I liked.
I never did that though. But because organic reach is dead, I haven't unliked or unfollowed any of them, but I never see anything from them, so I don't realize. Like I think recently I saw something from a page called like when you turn your pillow over and get the cold side. Because we used to be able to like things on Facebook, so people used to create pages of like an idea.
Logan, again, I know I liked over 2,000 of them.
Yes, I know.
And I was like, after I got to a certain point, I said, I don't know how to undo what I've done. There was no way for me to get out of this hell I've created for myself. And my 7th grade self created for me. And then that's when it was like, maybe I should.
No, you were smart. You were smart.
Just delete the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
I can't do it anymore.
To round out this aside, I saw a post from the Hunger Games page, which I probably liked in 2012 when the Hunger Games came out.
Yep.
And I didn't know I still followed it, and it just happened to show up on my feed. Just happened to.
What did it say?
It said, "Jealous Katniss is the best Katniss," and it was a picture of Katniss looking at another woman that looked like she was wearing a quote unquote scandalous kind of top, and the picture also had PETA kind of looking at the woman's breast. That's what the picture looked like. And then Katniss looked very jealous. Maybe it wasn't the official page, but it was a page for the Hunger Games that is still active today. I don't know. But anyways, I saw that and I was like, huh, I probably liked that 10 years ago. Great to see it today.
Yep.
But anyways, it was an era where like it was right before like social media for movies was like the necessity, I guess, and their websites are still being kept up a lot, and a lot of effort was being put into them. So there was a lot of stuff you could do on this website. You could design a like an 8-bit pixel art version of yourself. You could. I can't even remember the details. So the problem is I can't look at the website because they don't even maintain it anymore. But there was you could watch the trailers. There was something like instead of click to continue, it said like insert coins to continue. You have to like click on that, But it's like some cool wording, and it was a very creative website. I thought that was kind of interesting. I also did go look at their Twitter, and to kind of back up this idea that like social media wasn't a huge thing, and I'm going to click on this link to get the details from it, but their Twitter was very small. It was never even verified by Twitter. I don't know if verification was the thing then, but Twitter sure as hell didn't retroactively go verify the Scott Pilgrim page. Their last tweet was on August 24th, 2010, and it says, in need of a little crazy in your day? Check out this mashup of Scott Pilgrim versus the World with a dead link. With a link that we can no longer click. It only ever had 7,653 followers. Some of those are probably recent, actually, because I've actually seen some replies to these old tweets that are from this year. But yeah, it's a pretty bad Twitter page. Like, if you look at this, this is not a good way to use social media. But you look at how they did a website, and they put a ton of effort into it. So again, it's just a cool like snapshot of like digital marketing for movies in that era. I thought. I do want to talk about why this movie bombed.
You've said it like 4 times.
Because I read this article, and it's
well, then why don't you just say it and kept saying why? We're going to find out why it bombed. Oh, man, it bombed.
All right.
Hey, I can't wait to talk about how it bombed.
Hey, okay, well, I'm going to talk about how it bombed after this break. Alyssa's laughing so hard at that one. It's like that like when you laugh so hard that nothing's coming out, so you can't hear it.
It's not the fury in my eyes you're seeing? It's
not
not the fire that you're seeing in my eyes?
I'm seeing joy and love. And a fist raised, pointed at me. Okay, let's talk about it now for real, though. There's an article on The Wrap that came out in 2011, and it was about, how something so good, how a movie this good, that was, loved by critics, that had a lot of buzz leading up to it, coming out of, like, Comic-Con, and looking at, like, early critic reactions and stuff, like oh, this movie's going to be huge, so how did it do so bad? This one quote that I thought was great was, the film was crippled by its lead actor, Michael Cera, who was rapidly earning a label as a box office poison. Which, like, think about it. When's the last time you saw Michael Cera in something?
Nothing.
Year one, the other Jack Black movie he was in?
Well, when we were just talking about him, I said I feel like I hate looking at him. I didn't like that he was kissing that girl because it looks like he's like permanently stuck as a teenager, and I hate looking at him a little bit. I kind of do.
Another quote was, it was from a studio executive, anonymous. Said, I don't know why or when this occurred, but somehow this industry became convinced without any evidence that Michael Cera is a star. It's just so cruel. Someone else said, who wanted to hang out with this guy? He's the kid you shoved in a locker. Which that's really cruel. Like, not everyone here is shoving people in lockers.
That's also very true.
But I guess to be at the top of Hollywood, you gotta be ready to break a few bones, ruffle a few feathers, shove a few Michael Ceras in lockers. I guess. Not saying I would do that. I'm just saying it's a cutthroat industry. So another thing that this article talks about was the idea that the movie didn't know how to market itself. It didn't know what to market itself as. It was like a genre mashup. So, like, was it a superhero type thing? Was it a comic book movie? Was it a romance? Was it a comedy? And, I mean, we look at it now and you're like, yeah, it's all of the above. But for some reason, Universal is like, we gotta make one of these work.
Yeah.
And it seemed like they focused a lot on romance in the trailer. with slight elements of everything else, which just kind of just feel out of place when you don't dive deep into all of it. I feel like. One thing they did was they spent like heavily on television spots, which probably wasn't where their audience was. If you're thinking about like primetime TV and everything, it's kind of like marketing an orange to people who like are very clearly banana lovers. Like they're gonna go buy a banana. Why are you marketing the orange to them? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. There's also this issue of like Michael Cera himself and like what they were saying with him in this movie. Was he cool? What is it? A cool movie? Is it a lame movie? Is Michael Cera cool or is he lame? Clearly Michael Cera's lame.
Yeah.
He like exudes lameness, right?
That's fair. I like the idea of him. I think I like the idea of him. And then we watched that, and I said, I don't like Michael Cera.
Like he plays lame characters. That's what he's typecast as. He is lame. But like when you think about like a visual language, what does like someone who plays guitar symbolize in like film?
Not someone who's lame, someone who's cool and hip.
Exactly. Like and we can talk about this later, but like I didn't even think about this until now. But with School of Rock, like a big part about that movie is it doesn't matter like what you are before you like touch that instrument or get up on stage and perform or something. If you're up there like performing rock, you're cool as hell. And people are going to love you. It doesn't matter what you are before that. So that kind of, like, he's lame as hell, but the poster is him striking a cool pose playing guitar. It looks cool.
Yeah.
It looks really cool. But obviously he's not. And there's, like, a disconnect in the messaging for the movie and, like, what he is and stuff.
Yeah, I think he just wasn't able to pull off the cool. It just felt like he was faking it the whole time.
Yeah. Another thing the article like cites for a reason it possibly didn't do well is the recession. The stock market crash of 2008, kind of leading into 2010, and how people didn't want to watch an unemployed person with no job or hardly any job flail around for an hour and a half. I don't think that's a very good explanation for why it bombed. I thought it was interesting it was put in there.
Well, I saw this illegally. So take that as you will. Okay. It was also in a different language on the letters, so I didn't know what it said the first time I watched it. I just knew I was watching it, and I really wanted to watch it.
Cool. Yeah. We kind of talked a lot about the trailer and poster. Do you have anything else you want to add about the trailer and poster?
I don't think the poster portrays what the film is about.
Agreed. Again, it looks like cool as hell, and it's not that.
It's not. I mean, it's not about him really playing guitar. I mean, he's playing music, but there's also the comic-y book stuff mixed with, like, the kind of hero fighting style stuff mixed with the romancy stuff. Like, Ramona should have been on that poster as well.
Yeah.
She's the cause of the problems. Like, she should have been involved in that.
Vital to the story. So, you're right.
Exactly.
Like, it's called Scott Pilgrim versus the World, but you don't show any of the world on the poster.
Exactly. I think trailer was fine. Definitely could have been better, but again, when you're mixing up all those genres, I feel like I got a good bit of them, but
it just kind of feels like a mess.
Yeah,
it's cool, but you have to watch the movie to get like why it works, and I think the trailer just didn't do a good job of conveying that.
Agreed.
Well, then you want to talk about some marketing ideas? What we would do for this movie?
Yeah, but I also want to talk about what they already did as well. Like, this was based off of a graphic novel series, so...
I meant to say, actually, I was trying to move away from, like, the... just for time's sake. Like, we don't need to talk about the graphic novels or the video game and stuff. We can a little bit, yeah.
Well, that's what I want to talk about, is, like, if I were to watch this and I'd be like, oh, you know what? This is, like, really comic booky and cool. I'd make a comic book from it. Boom, they kind of fucking did it. Yeah. It's already done.
Well, yeah.
And then it was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if there was, like, kind of a brawler game because it's about them, like, fighting each other? Boom. It's fucking, they did it.
And it's a good game. And actually just got re-released as well.
Yeah, people fucking love that shit. So I think that they actually had some good ideas, but it seems like, I didn't know this, Michael Cera just fucking murdered the whole thing.
Box office poison.
Yep, exactly.
And I was talking about some, like, they said, like, he found a hit with, like, Juno and Superbad. Mm-hmm. Like, those are the two movies that he was in that were, like, real hits. Mm-hmm. And I guess you can consider this one like a cultural hit when you look at it 11 years later and stuff. But like everything else he was in kind of bombed terribly. And then, yeah, I haven't seen him in anything recently.
That's very true.
Yeah.
I just want to say there were cool things that went along with this. And I've seen they've even released like shorts and stuff. I think that's really interesting. It's just tough. And it's tough to think of ideas because, again, they ended up doing cool things with it. It's just that they couldn't make it succeed with those things.
Yeah.
So I guess I would have gotten rid of Michael Cera. And
I would have gotten rid of him.
Put maybe Jack Black.
So we're replacing Scott Pilgrim. We're recasting Scott Pilgrim with Jack Black.
I just really love Jack Black. So he's like the first person I thought of. I think it'd be even cooler if they made it instead of Michael Cera like a Muppet.
Oh. Oh, yeah, everyone's always talking about like, oh, we need a like Muppet Christmas Carol. What just became like public domain that everyone? Oh, Great Gatsby. Remember everyone was like, oh, they need to do a Muppets adaptation of the Great Gatsby now. Mm-hmm. We need a Muppets adaptation of Scott Pilgrim, please. I mean, the band's already together.
The band is already together. They do a rock version of Rainbow Connection, baby.
All right,
fuck me up.
The first boyfriend, it's got like the emo, the eyeshadow. That shows up. Which Muppet plays him? And you're better with the Muppet names than I am.
So I'm pretty sure there's a scary guy that has like some big bags. I can't remember what color he is. I can imagine him in my head though.
Okay.
So I don't know, but I kind of have an idea. I don't know all the Muppet names.
All right. The Chris Evans ex?
Oh, the first guy I'm thinking about is the guy who likes to do all the bombs.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I think the Chris Evans ex should be the Eagle.
Yes, that's what I was thinking, Sam the Eagle.
Sam the Eagle.
Exactly thinking Sam the Eagle, okay.
Okay. We have the woman ex. I don't remember her name.
Yeah, she's played by that girl that does other things I really like.
Yeah. I mean,
with the pigtails.
I mean, you said pigtails. Is it there? Are we going there?
She could be Miss Piggy. I don't think she would be the other girl. One that's really notable is like the lead in the band, or one of the band girl who's like super hippie and she's got the blonde hair and she goes, "Yeah, man."
That should be Ramona. Or is Ramona Flowers saying Mary Elizabeth Winstead?
Yeah, no, of course we keep
okay. The thing I like about Miss Piggy is that she doesn't completely fit for that part, but also I think like that's like Miss Piggy wouldn't fit, you know?
Well,
she wouldn't fit as anybody.
And it's like so aggressive too. Like that girl's so aggressive and Miss Piggy will fuck shit up. So I think that's actually decent.
There's like they're not twins. Are they twins?
Shoot, I don't know. It's got to be the two old guys.
Yes, the DJs. The two old guys are the DJs. We also have the vegan ex. I can't think of a good one.
Let's skip it.
I mean, listen, should the vegan ex be Kermit?
I don't think so. I think Kermit's the wrong choice for that.
Should Kermit be the final ex?
You know who'd be good is Gonzo, maybe?
Okay.
Gonzo's aesthetic is just like...
Is Fozzie anything?
Fozzie, I was also considering.
For the vegan one?
I was considering him.
Yeah, let's go Fozzie for the vegan one.
Okay.
And then I think the final ex is Kermit. AKA, I think it's Constantine, for being real.
I can see that. Yeah.
Okay, and I think we just recast like all the major players in this movie as Muppets.
Yep.
And we made the movie better.
Yes.
And we're over time, so I think that's the best thing we could contribute to anything right now.
I mean, again, I think that they did. There were a lot of things that could go, like, partnered with this film that were either good ideas or that came with the graphic novels.
So I get what you're thinking, and I think that's what they tried to do. But one of the other reasons, like, cited for why this did bad is that it tried to rely too much on fandom before the fandom was really there.
I also agree with that. I didn't read the books. I didn't read the books until after I knew about the movie.
Yeah. Like, looking at it now, because it's built up this cult following, I think it's a lot easier to say, like, yeah, like, any any sort of peripheral media you can create around it, people are going to eat that shit up, and they will. But I think at the time, there were a small portion of people who would eat that shit
Yeah.
up, and that's where it made its money at the box office, but no one else kind of gave a shit about it. And
Agreed.
I think it, I mean, one, it probably just shouldn't have had that high of a budget. It should have been a lower budget movie,
Yeah.
and it probably would have made roughly the same amount of money and could have actually made money on the film, you know?
Yeah.
Cool. You want to move on to School of Rock now?
Yep.
All right, School of Rock, one of my favorite movies of all time, directed by Richard Linklater. You know,
One of my favorite movies of all time.
Linklater is known for great movies like Boyhood. He's done the Before trilogy, which I have not seen any of, but I want to so badly. He's a great director, and of course he did School of Rock. Just of course he did. Here's a synopsis. After being kicked out of his rock band, Dewey Finn becomes a substitute teacher of an uptight elementary private school, only to try and turn his class into a rock band. Perfect synopsis. Perfect. This movie came out on October 3rd, 2003, 5 days before Alyssa and I turned 7.
Hell yes.
The budget, $35 million. Solid budget, I feel like. Opening weekend, it made $20 million. Total domestic was $81 million. Its total in the international market was $50 million, with a worldwide total of $131 million.
I would just like everyone to know I did the research for these numbers, and I might have put random numbers down.
You didn't.
And also, if we were talking about this movie, we didn't own it on Blu-ray, I'd say, why the fuck don't we own this on Blu-ray?
But we do own this on Blu-ray.
We do own it on Blu-ray because we both actually really fucking love this movie. But if we were to be this, when you'd be talking about, I'd be like, God, why don't we fucking own this?
Yeah. No,
like, it's such a good movie, and we both loved it.
I did just buy it a couple weeks ago. One thing is, in its second weekend, it made $15 million, which is a phenomenal hold. Like, that's only about a 20 to 25% drop when you factor in the real numbers. I did, like, some rounding and stuff. But that's a phenomenal hold. Like, that means that it had great word of mouth to hold that well on the second weekend.
Do you remember the first time you watched it?
No, actually, when I was watching this, I was thinking about it. There's probably a lot of movies that you can remember the first time you watched. But I think there's a lot of movies that you really remember the last time you watched them, if that makes sense. Like movies from your childhood. Like, I don't remember the first time I watched this movie. I don't remember the first time I watched Cars. I remember the last times I watched those movies, though. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't remember the first time you watched this, but I remember being in my grandma's basement and having it on, and being like, hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can watch this right now. I want to watch this. I really enjoyed this movie.
I started playing guitar in 4th grade, and, like, how old is a 4th grader? 9?
Yeah.
10? 9, 10-ish?
9, 8.
8 or 9-ish? Okay. So, when this movie came out, I was younger than that, of course. I got into Green Day around, like, 3rd grade, and that's a big reason that I, like, started to play guitar. Mm-hmm. But, like, I honestly think this movie is another huge reason why I wanted to play music. Like, seeing kids that were, like, my age or a little bit older than me, like, rocking out was like,
amazing.
Life-changing. It was so cool.
Yeah.
And that sounds cheesy as hell, but, like, this is a very important movie, I think. At least to me, personally. Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 92% critic score.
Hell yes.
64% audience score, because people are fucking dumb.
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't like this movie. Like, I can't actually imagine it.
You must hate, I mean, it's...
Children.
A lot of the parents of the children in this movie must have watched this movie.
Yeah.
Because they're lame as shit. All right. Again, no cinema score for it. This was the highest grossing music-themed comedy of all time until Pitch Perfect 2 in 2015.
I love that.
Then a little fun fact, Mike White, who plays Ned Schneebly in this movie, and wrote it, also wrote Pitch Perfect 3.
Wow.
So I don't know if they're like, I don't know. We just had the highest grossing music movie of all time. We need to make it up to the guy who had it before. Let's let him write our next one.
I love that.
Yeah, he also wrote the Emoji Movie, though, so, like, his career is really a roller coaster. I don't understand how to interpret it.
That's also very true.
This film was adapted to the stage on Broadway by Andrew Lloyd Webber. And it also had a TV show on Nickelodeon in 2016 that ran for 3 seasons. That I never watched.
Yeah, I didn't.
Should we? Probably not anything like the original, but also probably worth watching.
We'll have to check into it.
I mean, if anything's as good as the song School of Rock, then it'll be worth it. No,
What song is School of Rock?
That's what the final song's called. If you wanna be the teacher's pet.
Oh, I thought it was called The Teacher's
la,
Pet. I didn't think it... Are you sure it's called that? That's not what the musical soundtrack called it.
It called it School of Rock in the site I looked at.
Okay. Fine.
Let's talk about the trailers and posters. I could not find a lot of marketing stuff done for this film around the time, and I told Alyssa this earlier, because when you search School of Rock anything, it's just countless articles about where the stars are now. And, like, I care. I want to know. I clicked on a few, but it didn't help me with research for this episode. So we're going to talk about the trailer and poster a little bit, and then we're really going to jump into some... I'm going to set the bar, some amazing marketing ideas for this one.
Please, you're ruining it.
What do you think about the trailer?
Trailer was very cheesy, very 2003. I hate the voiceover. Why the fuck did we ever think that was a good idea? It's not a good idea. Let the words in the cast tell you about it.
I know, but there's a point in this trailer where you have Jack Black ripping something off the classroom wall while you have the narrator going doing his thing while School's Out by Alice Cooper is also playing. And it's just a culmination of greatness.
No.
All in one place. And it's great. I agree with you. It's pretty cheesy. Music selection in the trailer is great. It, opens with Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. Mm-hmm. Which is a little fun fact about this movie. Led Zeppelin is notoriously stingy with, approving their music to be used in anything, really. So what they ended up doing was they on the stage that they filmed the final concert at, they got Jack Black on stage pleading. They got a video of him pleading to Led Zeppelin to let them use the song. And the cast members were behind him doing the same thing and everything. Mm-hmm. They sent that video to the surviving members of Led Zeppelin, and they approved it. And that video was on the DVD. I'm not sure if it's on the Blu-ray copy that I have. I need to check that out because I want to see it.
Yeah, I didn't know that existed. Did you watch it on the original DVD?
I didn't watch it.
Oh.
I read about it.
Oh, okay.
But I thought it was kind of cool. But it was important because, in the trailer, you open the trailer with that song. It's a dope song.
Yeah, and he references them several times in the movie. I think it would have been important.
Yeah, and it's also in the movie, when they're driving in the car and they're all kind of singing along in the car to it.
Yeah.
It's great. I think the poster for this movie is iconic. I saw it and I was like, oh.
You know what it is.
Yeah.
It looks like a Rolling Stones cover.
Yes. I didn't even, You're right.
I know.
That's why the poster looks like that.
Yeah,
because it's got 4 taglines on it.
Why it looks
that
like
makes
that.
so much sense. Why it has 4 taglines. It looks like a magazine cover.
Yes.
Wow, thanks for pointing that out. I feel a little dumb now.
Take notes. October 3rd.
I don't need no education.
Well, come on, feel the noise.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that covers most of it. I mean, the poster's great, Jack Black's rocking that SG, that nice, red stained SG. It's amazing.
What's an SG? Can you explain it to us?
It's the type of guitar that is on the poster.
Okay.
It's a very symmetrical, it's kind of got a round body, but then you got those 2 points that come up around the neck. They kind of curve up around the neck and they're pointy. It's a very rock style guitar, like Angus Young used an SG a bunch from AC/DC.
Okay.
Yep.
Yup.
I'm just saying, the guitar's got significance. I like that they had it on the cover. It was cool. You got any cool ideas for this one? I got a cool idea. Ready? I got 2. You go first.
They didn't have a soundtrack for this. They should have had a soundtrack for this.
Yeah.
Idiots. Stupid. Why wouldn't you have I would literally put this in my car and listen to it all the time. The original songs, the mix of the songs that they had in the trailers and the movie. Yes.
Do you want to hear what I would do?
Yeah.
Forget the soundtrack. You don't need a soundtrack. All these kids, you could tell they were playing their instruments. They were actually skilled musicians. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking it's why a lot of them aren't actors today, They weren't looking for child actors. They were looking for child musicians that could act, clearly, because they're all very good.
Yeah.
You need to record a fucking Kids Bop style album. Record all these classic rock song covers, but I want to hear the kids performing them.
Yeah, that would have been amazing.
That would have been so cool. I used to be so into Kids Bop. I made my grandma buy me all the new Kids Bop CDs, and I made her listen to them in her car.
That's really sad for me, Ma.
I made her listen to them.
Yeah.
I used to love it. Kids Bop in my J14 magazines.
God, I hate when we had that conversation the other day.
I used to love them all. They were great. So, yeah, a Kids Bop style album would be great. Do you have another idea you want to talk about?
Now I'd like to hear your other idea.
They need to do a promotion with schools. You know, it's a movie about education. So, and it costs a lot of money, but it's worth it. You know, it's a long-term play. You go to some universities, some higher education institutions, and you get the naming rights to some buildings, you know, to some colleges. Like how there is the Terry College of Business at UGA, you know?
Okay.
Instead of Terry, fuck Terry. That's what I always say.
Okay, so what do you want to say?
I want it to be called the School of Rock School of Business.
That would be very good.
And it's even better if you can like do it in like more than half of the colleges within a university, because then you can claim legal right to name the university. So you can be the School of Rock School of University.
School of Rock School of University?
Yeah, they're overtaking the entire university.
It wouldn't
now.
just be called School of Rock University?
No, it's more fun the other way. And then now they have a whole university. School of Rock gets a sports teams. They're competing in the NCAA. Right?
They have to have the best band in fucking history.
Yeah, they also need to have the best football team. What's the School of Rock mascot?
Jack Black?
So it's like the School of Rock University Jack Blacks?
Yeah.
And the mascot itself is a Jack Black?
Yeah, it's going to be
Is it actually Jack Black, or is it...
No, it's a mascot uniform that looks like Jack Black.
Look, there's three options. There's actual Jack Black, there's a mascot uniform that looks like Jack Black, or there's Jack Black in a mascot uniform that looks like... Imagine how fucking blown your mind would be if you're at a School of Rock University Jack Black's game. They're playing the Clemson Tigers, you know? And you see this mascot going wild after a big touchdown. And then he rips his head off. It's Jack Black.
I don't think anyone else could bring the energy that he needs.
It has to be him, right?
Yeah, it has to be him.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've solved... I don't know what we solved, but we solved it. And I don't think we solved that. But we've solved something. Maybe like a question that's been lingering in the back of my mind for years, like, what more can we do? And we did it.
That's good. I mean, it'd be good if they just even did like school programs, or like if they would, this movie would have put some funding towards more musical things.
Listen, there is, and this is unaffiliated with the movie, but there is now a large corporation called School of Rock that franchises out music schools across the country. They're just called School of Rock. And I don't like that they took the name. Because when I search School of Rock marketing, that brings up their chief marketing officer. Not Jack, and that's not Jack Black.
I just think it'd be cool if they were like, hey, schools, here's some money for music programs.
I thought about emailing this place's chief marketing officer.
Okay.
And seeing if he'd like come on the show. An interview. Like, hey, have you seen School of Rock? Are you aware of the name? Coincidence?
We could interrogate him.
Yeah.
And why didn't you do this?
Because I did the research an hour before we recorded.
We could have pasted it in later. We could have been like, this is a special one.
Well, look, I know we were like, okay, we did a movie, it's done, we're done with it, but we can always revisit a movie.
We can always revisit a movie.
We're hacks. We're not original. We can always revisit a movie.
The thing is we've already really talked about it in detail. We wouldn't have had time to interview this man also. It'd have to be a bonus episode.
Yeah.
If you pay for Max Fun.
Yeah. Hey, Max Fun, get us on there, please. Wow, cool. So, are we done? I know you said you want to. Okay, you were still kind of talking about your idea too.
Well, I don't. It's not really that good of an idea. It's just that some schools, I don't know, do programs like this, or it'd be nice if it encouraged more people to do something like this. I don't know if they did, but it'd just be nice for them to like have, I don't know, done something to raise money to put some into schools doing musical programs.
Yeah,
I think that
because
would've been
like
cool.
I mean, let's be real. Schools are out there teaching classical music. And classical music fucking sucks.
Yeah, some of it's good.
Nah, it's not. School's Out by Alice Cooper.
That's true. That's
It's
very
definitely
true.
not that. Are you ready to wrap it up now?
Yep.
All right. Well, we're wrapping it up, and we're putting a bow on it, and we're putting it in the mail, and we're saying don't deliver this until Christmas, because that's when you get.
They
gifts.
can deliver from Christmas. You can't open it till Christmas.
I guess you're not wrong about that.
I know how Christmas works.
This was an episode of The Marketer's Cut. Oh no, I didn't scroll down to my thing I always read here. I'm freaking out.
It's the same damn thing every
Find
week.
us on Twitter and Instagram at Marketer's Cut. Find the podcast anywhere you can find podcasts or on YouTube. Learn more at marketerscut.com. I want to thank Jacob Wall for his art. Find more of his work on Instagram at jacobartwall. And that's it for this week. We do not know what we are doing next week, but I don't know. I'm talking like a robot a little bit. Maybe we'll do something robot related. Alyssa does love that movie, Robots.
God damn, I can't believe you just mentioned robots. Now we have to fucking do
No,
that
we're not
next
doing
week.
robots next
No,
week. We
you
can't
just said
do it.
robots. You shouldn't have said robots. You just
All
said
right.
robots.
No promises.
I also just got Shrek on Blu-ray, so
Oh, yeah.
4K Blu-ray. So
Yeah, 20th anniversary edition.
who knows? Also, if we miss a few
Did you see that
episodes,
bullshit on Twitter today about someone saying Shrek's bad?
no, I didn't, but it's true.
He's getting fucking dragged and he deserves it.
Also, if you don't hear from us for a while, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, sweetheart.
That was so ominous. I'm ending
Don't
the
worry
episode
about
on
it.
that note.